Why don't you just build a Jeep? Because Jeeps aren't fun.
So it's like dead in between a Blazer and a Suburban?
Are we okay if we get off topic?
Another Seymour project.
They don't know that yet.
Louisiana's like riding a skateboard on gravel.
Take the ego and set it right over here and get back to work. Whew, you want to take a little break on that one?
First time on the floor in Vegas.
Technically not the first thing you've had on the floor there.
Hey y'all, this is a little different from what we normally do. I have two of my friends who you will recognize. This is Chris and Dave. I asked them here to talk a little bit about a project that I spent the last months working on with Seymour, SendCutSend, and Miller Welders. This is going to be set up to where you could just put your earphones in and just listen. Hope there's not going to be any ads between this moment and the end of the video. This and several other projects. I really appreciate you guys always being so supportive.
Let's talk about these numbers. This whole Seymour 75 project. This is an exciting time for them. You know, 75 years in family ownership.
Yeah. I was with our mutual friend, Rodian. We were at SEMA last year. We knew that they had this anniversary coming up, right? And so he and I just started like naturally thinking about how to mark this. And I wanted to make something big, like a big statue with the 75. And it just kind of naturally evolved into the design that you see here.
Or two of them.
Two of them, yeah, actually. Both of these are on display at their different SEMA booths. One is the Apex booth and one is at the outdoor. Anyway, the original design of this, what I actually thought of doing was terrible. It was awful. I got a bunch of those empty cans and I just started zapping them together to structure out what a 7 and a 5 looked like. Let me tell you, those dudes are zinc coated, right? So it didn't work out well at all. I came up with this design that has all the holes in it so that we can populate it with cans. And then we kind of had a chance to take it to another level working with SendCutSend to showcase a lot of their processes, like press braking, inserting all of the threaded standoffs. The bottom plates are pre-threaded. The tab and slot architecture. I worked with their design services. A gentleman over there who leads that team named Kyle took this concept and started to refine it. And that's really what their design services are all about, is take an idea that you have that's already drawn, and then, you know, if there's some small changes that they need to make to suit their capacity or whatever, they do that. So SendCutSend cut and put all this stuff together. And the cool thing is, like, I didn't end up, I didn't grind anything.
I can attest to that. These letters came as you see them, minus welds, minus blending.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They were pre-tab and slotted together.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just wrapped with cellophane.
That's actually the cool thing. I did not expect this, right? It came as a cubed crate.
Yeah.
Did you see, did I send you the photo?
Yeah. It was all really nicely packaged.
They assembled them, right?
Yeah.
Probably would have stayed together with about 4 tack welds.
He could tell you. How many tack welds did it take before we got, like, you know?
Before they were solid enough to move them around on the table, 5, 6 maximum.
Yeah.
It really was such an easy project because of the services offered.
Traditionally, if I was actually thinking about a fuel cell. Like if we wanted to make a fuel cell for the car, I would think that like we would draw it and we would send it to them. They would flat pack it and we would, you know, build it up. This completely changed the way that I think about that now, because like we can do the baffles inside.
Yeah.
We could do all the baffling.
You can save a lot of welding.
Tons.
By having press broke.
That's actually the thing I actually wanted, you've seen these now for a little bit, you've been over here for a minute.
Yeah.
When you look at this, if you imagine that you just had, like let's just say you plasmid this on your table back at the shop. Never mind the fact that that's loaded with carbon and that makes all the other welding hard. How long would it take you to make one set of these, do you think?
Oh, man. Week.
A week?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, and you're a 10-hour-a-day kind of guy. That's like baseline for you.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have just the amount of time in cleanup coming off the plasma table. I mean, they make good cuts, but not when you're talking about thin aluminum that's getting TIG welded. The amount of cleanup time would be
you compare that
alone
to
monumental.
3.5 days of build maximum, and those are not full days.
Not full days. We had to shoot. We had to video at the same time. Everything lasts longer when you have to film for it, and that's fine. But that's 4 days, 3.5 days of welding, 1 solid day of blending.
So 2 sets of letters.
Yeah.
And since we did not shoot a full build video on these, what you'll see both cut into this video and in Seymour's official video, which I assume you're going to link.
We'll put a link in this description so you can see the full video that these things are supporting.
What you're going to see is the highlights. And you haven't done much aluminum on your Willomet 220. I'm sorry, Willomet 220.
You know what was fun is it's one of these things like, well, if you don't know how to aluminum weld, by the time you're done with this, you'll have it kind of figured out. This is the best of the 3 cubes, right? There's two that I'm less proud of back there.
2 lesser cubes.
Yeah, lesser cubes.
Hidden from view.
Yeah, they're not the ones I'm proud of, but they taught me a lot, right? But the thing that I remember, you take the 700, when you get your Miller 700, you just like, it's kind of funny, you can spin that and the number just keeps going. And I remember you were welding thin stuff. I was like, this guy is on something when he's welding a thin piece of sheet and the machine's on like 300 or 350.
Yeah.
That's why I have a pedal. That's what you told me.
Pedal for a reason.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It's there. Yeah.
So I finally leaned into that pretty good. And so I just maxed out the machine. And to get all these tabs and slots, when the material's cold, right?
It helps.
You just got to throw a bunch of heat at it.
Have that little kick at the beginning and then just back off.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that took a minute to figure out.
You're
But
gonna have to send the video to our buddy Kevin. It's also how
Stearns?
how he operates. Yeah.
All or nothing.
yeah,
Put it all the way up and just play on some flat metal and look at the puddle,
Yeah.
and you'll get a feel for it.
and you haven't welded with this one yet, have you?
I've welded with the 220.
You
Not
have?
your personal one, but I've used them. Yeah, they're a great machine.
I think it punches way above its weight.
Yeah, it's very capable. It's reasonably portable, which is nice for me as a professional, and they weld great.
Yeah.
But they just kind of put it all together. It is a really, really good single source solution in a shop, in a home shop.
Yeah.
I mean, and you see them in production shops too, as the
Actually-
drag around machine.
Yeah, so
Great.
between the 220 and the one that it's 255 and whatever the other smaller sizes it's
Like a
that's
215.
it's a DC only machine.
Yeah.
Those
They
are
take
really
a
common in
beating.
like race shops, and they just drag them suckers all around. But yeah, when these guys want to have a machine and they want to be able to tack quickly, like time is valuable. They're
Yeah.
nobody's twisted to do all their tacks and TIG.
You are.
This guy,
Don't say nobody. You are.
yeah, smart people.
But yeah.
Yeah, so those are really good. This is just an evolution of that. I would say, you guys have noticed there's another blue thing.
Water cooler.
Did you spot that?
Yeah. No more hot hands. It's got enough amperage to put a water cooler to use.
Oh, for sure.
It's got
Absolutely.
enough
duty-
duty cycle too.
The duty cycle of the torch is half the duty cycle of the machine.
Yeah.
Although I will tell you, and like I was telling you about those welds that I did for the tab and slot,
Yeah.
the torch got warm, but
But
it was
wasn't-
fine. It was okay.
Didn't get carried away.
No, I mean, of course, they were also like several 175 amp 1-inch welds.
Yep.
I wasn't running constantly.
But heat over time.
Heat over time, man.
When it fits together that well, you're
Yeah.
able to move pretty quick. You're
Yeah.
not constantly fighting each one to get in alignment and tack it and then
You're exactly
align the
right.
next. You just go.
Yeah, and once it was tacked into shape, there was a lot of moving around the piece to, spread the love or spread
Yeah.
the heat in this case.
Yeah. These things are so huge, heat was not a problem.
Yeah.
No,
It just dissipates
no,
all over.
Dissipates.
Another thing that helped a lot on this project that I didn't realize was even in play is a completely new filler rod.
Well remembered.
Yes.
Did I give you any of the 4943?
No, but I've used that before. It's
You
a good
have?
rod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got supposedly it has a little bit more strength,
Yep.
right? When it's done and it's welded.
Yep.
I also observed like it was a little cleaner than 4043.
Yeah, 4043 is not always the cleanest.
Dude, I've got like little chocolate chips, like just dusting, right?
Yeah.
But it's extremely
Little pepper in
sensitive.
your weld.
It kind of frustrates me,
Yeah.
honestly. When you're done with welding aluminum, like it's different from steel. You can get impurities in a steel weld all day long, but you've got this perfect puddle, and then all of a sudden something comes along, and even if you've cleaned it and all, it sort of pisses me off, right, when it
Yeah.
happens. But the 4943, I could actually tell. Oh no, I just picked up the wrong rod. Anyway,
Oh, I could tell the difference listening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to shield myself from the weld by being behind the camera, but I could hear the difference. You had picked up one of the other rods,
yeah,
and I'm just listening to the weld. I'm like, that's just not as clean sounding.
yeah.
I found it very interesting. As someone who hates TIG welding aluminum,
It's a different speed. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I wanted to get your take on, right? Welding a lot of steel, you get this like elliptical sort of like puddle, and then you chase this elliptical puddle around. But steel and stainless, like it still holds a lot of structure, even when it's heated up like that. It holds a lot of structure, and you can feed relatively rapidly and move along. Aluminum wants you to get it right up to the level right before collapse. And the shape of the puddle is different because you actually create a keyhole.
Yep.
Like the material, like I think of it as evaporating oil. I know it's not. That's what it's doing. But that little T1000 puddle turns into a keyhole, and then you actually like jump pretty far ahead, and then you're dabbing, and then pretty far ahead and dabbing.
It's a faster process for sure.
I mean,
My
left hand is not there. I've worked on some feeding, but it's not there. I mean, that's a weakness, right? So I got to work on that. But you do a lot of that.
Just get real good at feeding rod.
Yeah.
And I tend to work on a lot of thick aluminum.
Yeah.
His
trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some big stuff.
Yeah. A lot of
Big-ish.
thick.
Maybe not big.
I also have a push-pull
industrial
gun, which helps.
When you feed, are you doing like 2 and out, or are you feeding your thumb? Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
A piece of filler rod.
There's actually just over your shoulder to your left by the brush. Yeah.
Inch long like a caterpillar.
Do you want to take that 4043 home? Or 4943?
I think I got a box somewhere.
Okay.
I got a box of a lot of filler
now
rods.
that you've greased it up with your...
Yeah, now we
It's
got to
ruined.
wash it with acetone.
Yeah.
The real trick is to practice your other hand too. You end up,
offhand.
when you're trying to run into corners, you almost always have to left hand. Especially on aluminum, it seems like I left hand TIG more than pretty much anything else I work on.
Left hand, I actually find like there's a little bit more comfort for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and it's because of the feeder. Like I can feed, I still feed poorly, but I can feed twice as good with my right hand as my left.
Yeah.
Right, but it's twice as good as compared to pad.
You're used to using your right hand for stuff. You got better dexterity and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You just say, we used to sit there in welding school. They tell you just
do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that on conference calls now.
Yeah, you can just sit there.
It's a fidget toy.
It really is.
Yeah.
You get good at having toasty fingers too when you're doing aluminum because it gets warm fast.
I did everything. I had to clean abrasives. I wiped down my tools. I got a new pair of gloves out.
The cleaner you get it, the easier it is.
I wiped down this table. I took the Seymour makes the layout fluid. Well, they also make like layout fluid remover, which is just aerosolized acetone.
Oh yeah.
And I wiped down this whole table. Just still carbon steel, I get it, but like there's no oil or anything on it, right? So
degreased it real good.
Yeah.
Low key.
I'm jealous.
One of their best products. Not speaking to their paint. When you look at their industrial products, the penetrating oil is fantastic. Layout ink is layout ink.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it all from a single source for us. But the layout ink remover I use for so many things, unless you need volume of fire, in which case brake clean is really, really good at putting a lot of
sprays like crazy.
Putting a lot of juice on the work.
It's like a garden hose.
Yeah, it is. But when you need an elegant solution,
layout fluid remover is not shooting like B12, right? It shoots normal, right? But it is just alcohol.
It's made to clean small parts.
Yeah,
these still have to go to paint.
Yeah, exactly. So to get aluminum down and to get this paint work right, like we're going to put some Seymour paints on here, surprise. But we're going to do their 316 black and the Alumablast, and each one of those wants a primer. You can do direct to metal, but especially on aluminum, it's better if there's a primer.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're gonna D it. 120 is what the gentleman that we work with for a lot of paint is a guy named Gabe, runs Proper Automotive, and he's got the knack.
Let's break these guys down. These are 3 pieces each, 4 pieces each, some of them?
You mean like the back plate, the front, and the sides?
Yeah, are the sides all one piece?
No, the sides are like 5 pieces.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, the 5 is the most complicated one. So the front plate has the big holes, and you basically, when we drew this, took the front plate, copied that to the back, and then in the center of each one of those holes, put a little threaded standoff. The SendCutSend punches those things in right there at the factory. And on that threaded standoff, we put a magnet, right? So you have the back plate with a threaded standoff and then a magnet in it, and then the front plate with basically the receiver hole, and this thing just barely fits within. Yeah, just like this.
Snaps right in.
We're going to do it with empty cans and not full cans. The reason that it's important to mention that we were at SEMA when we had this idea is my wife came. We ended the last place at the Neon Museum, which is at the north end of the old strip.
Correct.
It's kind of north of the strip.
A little bit, not much though.
But they've got this whole story, right, of like the original signs and how they were light bulbs and all this stuff. And so you're walking around in like this boneyard of Las Vegas light up signs, and that's fresh in my imagination. And then I see Rodian the next day, and we go to dinner, and we're walking around talking about how to do something for the 75th. What if we did it where it looked like an old Vegas light-up sign?
Man,
and the ones that have the bulbs all surrounding it, we ended up going simpler, and we ended up going with like contrasting ideas. So like the way that this is going to be painted, like we're going to use this stainless blast in the center. You're seeing, you, the viewer, you're in the future, right? We're in the past, and we're telling you what this is going to be. And it's going to be black on the inside with silver light-up cans, and it should look a little bit like those Vegas lights. It should echo that sentiment. The silver on the outside will be the Alumablast that they have. These are all like existing products, right? But the new one is the 316 black, because they have the 316 already, but it's that dull silver gray color.
Yeah, and we've been playing around with pre-production black. There's some on my Jeep that
There's some on the truck.
in Wheeled in California. There's some on your truck.
Yeah.
There's some on my Raptor. I redid the front. I shouldn't say I redid the front bumper.
You actually painted the front bumper?
Good news to me.
I did paint the front bumper.
Oh.
I did not prep the front bumper. Sorry, Rodian, but it's holding up great.
I'll take that.
So a question about the numbers. Do we know what the color scheme is for the caps in them?
We don't. In fact, there's a whole missing part of this. There's a lot of things that we don't know. I only have one piece of this puzzle. I came up with the idea, and we executed a lot of it. I'll have to get some B-roll from Quinn or somebody if we're at SEMA. Is the Sycamore leaves themselves.
Oh yeah, there's another component.
There's
to
a whole
these.
other component to these.
Sycamore's logo is
Burying the lead.
It's a sycamore leaf.
Well, because they're in Sycamore, Illinois.
Yeah.
In Sycamore, Illinois, we made a Sycamore leaf, took it from their logo. Did I show you this?
Giant leaf?
The giant leaf?
Giant leaf.
I think you showed me the drawing. I haven't seen it actually cut.
Dude, it's freaking bad. It's a leaf. It's freaking 2 feet tall. I remember I was starting to college. He goes, "How large do you want this?" And I was like, "Well, I send it to you at 2 feet tall." He goes, "Yeah, is that what you want?" I was like,
It's a big leaf.
we got to fit 200 plus signatures on that. So they anodized that bad boy in gold, right? That was kind of my pick because, like, it's kind of got that anniversary vibe. Gold does, and also Sycamore leaves are beautiful in the fall. And anyway, whatever.
It's funny, the anodizing. Not to interrupt you.
Interrupt away, dude.
It is I think it's at this point. Because you dimple dye here yourself, I don't know that you've ever ordered.
Well, I know they dimple dyed the press brake stuff.
Oh, they did. So you've done that. So I think
Yeah.
the anodizing or their coatings might be the only thing that has never seen our project circle.
We'll fix that.
At this point, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's time.
Those shipped direct to Rodian and Quinn and that whole team up in Sycamore. If I'm being honest, I was kind of disappointed. It's like I knew that made sense for the project. Like, ship it direct, you guys will work on it. But
You wanted
I wanted it.
to put hands on it first.
I wanted to put hands on it.
You didn't have to make one extra and send it here?
Yeah. So anyway, they got it.
There's about 2 foot of space right there.
Yeah. And they will have, by the time this video comes out, in fact, we're shooting this here at the very end of September. Here in the next couple of weeks, they're hosting a whole employee thing, right, at the plant. And I think they're even bringing some recently retired people who are still around, though they're a critical part of what you would call the Seymour family. They're all signing it. All these people, we found the right paint pen that's compatible with the clear.
With the 3K?
It's a
1K?
It's a 2K clear.
Yeah.
So at hired anno, their employees are going to sign it with a paint pen, and they're going to hit it with the 2K clear to preserve it. And then those are going to the show. So 7.5, and then there's going to be a 2 foot tall Sycamore leaf, which, just for you guys, for scale, these are 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And
every bit of it.
Good size leaf.
Yeah. I have just got so much personal pride wrapped up in this because I just think it's neat. It's worth, some things are really worth your time and investing, yourself into. And this is one of those, and I can't wait to.
This will be your
get it.
first official project on display at SEMA too.
That's true. That's true.
First time on the floor in Vegas.
I am proud about that too. Yeah.
Technically not the first thing you've had on the floor there.
What are you talking about?
When we met through the motorcycle shop,
Yeah, stuff. Okay.
the fenders
Yeah.
that I needed shortened because they were aluminum, and as I've said, hate welding aluminum. And I believe at that point, all of my garage was broken into, and all of my Miller Welders stuff was
Yeah.
stolen. I had
That one hurts.
18, 20 grand in machines. But yeah, you shortened up those fenders for me,
I forgot about that.
and those were in the Power Stop booth. So that was the first item you ever worked on.
Well, okay, since we're going to get credit for that, right? So I ran a couple of welds on your fenders.
You did.
I
cut them in half too.
I made most of Nate's doghouse for his Zook.
Yeah.
He had to finish integrating it because I was only there a weekend. So I made the doghouse for him. But yeah, okay. All right. I've contributed to 2, but this is the first one that's...
First end-to-end project that you've managed a lot of it, in addition to doing a lot of the manual labor.
I'm not going to lie, that's heady. Like, I feel like I need to like just somehow be like, that's great, David, good job. Take the ego and set it right over here and get back to work.
Yeah.
You walk around SEMA, and when you find out like how many people have trucks there that I have built for SEMA, is a large population.
A large selection from good
Big
to bad, pretty to ugly. Bluetooth,
Drive
baby.
shafts that
That's the
don't
one,
exist.
man.
The Bluetooth drive shaft.
The Bluetooth, yeah. I'm doing Bluetooth steering on the car.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I have to say that from a drive shaft standpoint, it makes no sense. And I want to hate it because it's not functional. But the laser cutout, like lattice drive shafts on some of those trucks.
Or the links that do that.
Yeah, they're really cool.
The craftsmanship is there. It's not a functional. Yeah. There's a lot of non-functional stuff there that still has phenomenal craftsmanship.
You're exactly
tons
right.
of it.
It is literally built to be an art piece.
That's funny. Like, I'm gonna rewind for just a minute. Are we okay if we get off topic for just a little?
It's the best kind of podcast.
So
someone's got to edit it.
Yeah. Are you good?
It's all linear.
Are you good?
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Chris is right, and this is what it's for.
This idea of like always be open to like friendships and relationships, because you never know like how those are going to progress and how those people are going to inform who you are. I'm not just talking about like what we can do for one another, although that's important, right? We support each other's success. But I'm thinking about like everybody's got their own career path. You know, you've had a number of roles. You've gone a bunch of places. Like you've done a lot of interesting things. Well, there's like a handful of other people that are not here who also represent, and they brought us together. I wanted to make some stickers. And my buddy Kurt was like, we're gonna make stickers. We're gonna go get some bike stickers. And you saw those. And you're like, you asked the guy who had one, he goes, where'd you get these? And so we ended up getting connected through a sticker of all things.
Yeah.
And then knowing Rodian and working on the whole Trail to SEMA project, like opened my eyes to all sorts of things. And then really precipitated doing a lot more wheeling for me out west with the truck.
One of my proudest things is seeing your Suburban. It was taken care of. I don't want to say taken care of. It looked taken care of. And then, like, hey, you want to go on a trip? Your truck's cool. And we took it on a trip, and I would like to think that I have a little part in every dent in that truck. And it makes me happy.
It's got a few.
I will be extremely happy when that truck gets finished. It's currently off at Bodywork Jail.
Yeah.
Where it will then move back here for a little bit of touch up and then move on to Paint Jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another Seymour project.
They don't know that yet.
Redacted.
Keep talking about it, but they don't know that yet.
Yeah. So
spoiler alert.
In addition to paint in the can, Seymour will sell you paint in the quart or the gallon.
And their Color Bond.
Yes.
They bought a company called Color Bond a handful of years ago. They have all the codes.
Yeah.
All the codes. So like
factory match.
Okay, so your dad bought a 1985 Suburban. What color is the body? Better yet, what color is the interior? Because they've got all that stuff. You know, they got the like we have to go and we have to replace some interior parts of the Suburban. It doesn't matter what color they are. I don't have to go find blue ones. I can go find red ones because they make a paint that bonds to plastic. Like there's some sort of chemical thing that happens, right? But anyway, we got to go out to Texas Square Bodies and get more stuff.
Yeah, my buddy Galen, who you know, on his drift car, it's a BMW 330i, he, without any prompting, looked on the internet and wanted to change his tan interior over to black. And he bought Color Bond without knowing the leather for his passenger seat that his girlfriend rides to events in.
I want to see that car before I go and start like repainting the truck, because I'm going to do some stuff in the white truck too, like gauge pods and all that. I want to see like how that's come together, because I've seen Seymour's display and it's good and it's impressive, but it doesn't get sat in. It's a seat that's painted one half and the other, and it looks It looks natural, right? One side's black, one side's tan.
So they can even do the leather seats.
Yeah.
It's a chemical bond. It's
Leather,
crazy.
vinyl. I don't know about fabric. I would assume there might be a dye for that.
No. I'm 99% sure fabric is it too.
Is on the list. But
Because
yeah,
if you can do the others, which are less pregnable, then we're gonna have to fact check if it's forward, but less pregnable, that like the leathers and all that sort of stuff, they take a color. I'm pretty sure the fabric works too.
just Oktoberfest
Okay.
is it's in season and it's one of your favorites.
It is. Yeah,
I think you guys know where to get more.
I would say there were some guys who were in from New Mexico, the Chris's, the Reckless Wrench Garage.
Yes. Reckless Wrench Boys.
So
Do we meet them in Vegas?
No, that's Garrett. That's Jarrett.
Jarrett. Yeah.
Jarrett.
Oh yeah,
Luke.
that's California
And
group.
Yeah.
was it just Jarrett and Luke?
Just
Yeah.
the two of them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was those guys. These are two other fellers who are really good. Like a Chris, who's out west. We knew him from Albuquerque because we were shooting the 4-link video for Offroad Design.
Yeah.
And we went through Albuquerque. They came here. Chris, who has the Suburban, which is a shortened Suburban.
Okay.
Stub bourbon.
Yeah. It's cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's very cool.
So we made a Blazer almost?
Oh, don't tell
Blazer,
don't tell me
Blazer and a
that.
half.
Don't.
So it's like dead in between a Blazer and a Suburban?
You can't call it the following. You can't call it a Blazer. You can't call it a Tahoe. He's only accepting Suburban right now.
Okay.
Right? So that's what you have to call it. It's got the full 4 doors and the back end, the tail end that I drag around,
It's shortened.
gone.
Yeah.
Gone. So that's what it is.
So it's
I know they're fun little details. Like
Suburban.
all of his links are painted
Yes.
to
that's
look
right.
like PVC.
The detail's amazing.
It's
People
like got the etched on red writing and everything.
Really, really
the
That's
white
awesome.
pipe with the edge. So he found and did a wrap, and then he's got the the detail is great because he's got the purple dope on the edge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious. It's without a doubt, I think, one of the
PVC glue and everything.
it's commitment to a platform. Everybody's like, why don't you just build a Jeep? And he's like, because Jeeps aren't fun. And so he commits to the platform, and you want to take a little break on that one. So he commits to it, and he just makes it the very best it can be. And I think part of what drove it is he wanted to pull out of the big, the hot tub. He wanted to drive out of the hot tub. He broke a drive shaft, broke a Dana 70, broke everything, trying to keep from dragging his rear end.
Yeah,
And
if you drag the rear end, it unloads the rear axle. You lose traction because
So
you're
you just
basically
cut it off.
teeter-tottering the
So he
center of the truck.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
He kept building it to be able to do that, and it does that and so many other things.
That's cool.
It's a great piece of gear.
That's cool.
So he was here
Jeep would have done it without dragging.
and took him to the brewery.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because other Chris lives here-ish now. He lives
Here-ish, yeah,
west
he's-
of us,
yeah, he's pretty far
or
west.
east of us by just about an hour.
It's a piece, dude.
Green Village.
Terrell.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It just gets kind of fuzzy. Like you leave
Yeah,
Dallas,
there's just-
and then ultimately you run into pre-Louisiana and then Louisiana.
Yeah,
And that's-
once
you
I'm
just sooner or
clear
later
of
you hit-
Garland, it's all the same.
It's all the same till you hit the pine trees.
Yep.
That's yeah. We'll get some comments on that one.
And
I say it's all the same. I still, every time I cross the border coming back into Texas, I
Yeah.
just breathe a sigh of relief. Just like, whew.
That's
I mean,
just because you
Texas
get
is
off
only-
those roads.
It's only 3.5 hours to home now.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas has bad roads. Louisiana's like riding a skateboard on gravel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Louisiana. Yeah, that's a
Shreveport.
well,
Oh,
Rosa.
my.
Oh, Shreveport is very difficult to drive through with any sort of elegance.
Man, it's
Yeah, I totally agree. Like when I think this is also true when you leave on 40, when you leave Texas. Like you could, if you drove with your eyes closed, you would know the minute you hit New Mexico's part of 40, because it's got the ka-tunk, 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 and then the right-hand side of the right lane.
it's just blown out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really something. Really, anyway, it's like that all the way until you get to Utah, where they've practically got the Autobahn. Like their
Yeah.
roads are, they're in
Fantastic.
great nick. Yeah,
Smooth as glass.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, getting back to the numbers, we went through, welded them. It was one letter at a time. I think we started with a 7, then a 5.
We need to put a
letters.
count for every time he calls a number a letter.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it.
Can we do that, Rhett?
A digit.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine. It's fine. I'm an idiot. I understand. Because of the way they came and the process that they were made, they were so easy. And I know
Yeah.
it sounds like a SendCutSend commercial, which, I mean,
And even though, I mean, I recognize like the nature of this business is to work with partners and to support them, but they support what we do and they support it with incredibly high quality work. So sometimes things are just quality. It'll be up to folks watching to determine if that's valuable to them. I argue it's very, I mean, there's some things I still make for myself, right? Because I enjoy that process. Yeah. But like the firewalls that are behind you on the car, all that, I literally was not here. I had to travel for work. And to be able to go and do that, and then Erica's like, what is this box? I was like, well, that's part of the car. And I know that that's there so that I land Thursday night and I'm back to work Friday night putting that stuff in. Like the
turnaround times are super quick too.
Nuts. Since they set up, half of my stuff now comes from Kentucky, right? It used to come from Reno and that would be 2 days. And now Kentucky is that or less. Unless you bend something, sometimes that adds a day or two.
But fast.
Super fast.
You're talking even local. I can drive down to some of these shops and have 6 to 8 week lead times.
Well, talk about, you use Western sheet metal all the time. Candidly, I haven't used Western in a long time.
Western's great. They're pretty quick. There's other shops in town that are, well, let me rephrase that. Western is one of the quicker shops in town, and it's usually a week.
Yeah.
7 days, something like that. There are shops in town that we can wait up to 6, 8 weeks.
Yeah, you were talking about that the other day for some of the architectural stuff you do, which just for like some background, you guys need to find Dave. His handle for Instagram is here, but he and another friend of ours, John Fife, they do legit architecture. We'll talk about hundreds of thousands of pounds of steel going into framing a building, doing fireplaces,
staircases with a center stringer that you can't put on a normal trailer. Yeah.
Like it's slicker now. It's not. I love all that stuff that gets in there. Anyway, so these guys work with all of the laser houses that do this value-added product. So when I call and I'm like, hey, who can I go to for this?
We know a few places.
I get the rundown of like, well, they pissed me off lately because they can't deliver on time.
Yeah. You have different places for different needs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you've been a resource to both of us for a lot of that. It's like, hey, this is my idea. This is what I was going to do. And you're like,
yeah.
No. We're not doing that. Really cool to see this growth and super excited for Seymour. And I don't really know what else we got for this.
It's all just nonsense chit chat, right? If you guys like this format, if you have enjoyed this, just say so, right? And we'll do more of these. All in all, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for investing the time. Rhett, I think we got enough here, but we'll do this again if you guys like. Till next time.
Yeah, have a good one. That's a wrap.
I think it worked.
Yeah,
it did.
That was good. How long was that?
I've had to pee for 20 minutes.
I think it was like 74 minutes.